Hi guys, happy Monday. I was just about to say Tuesday, so I apologize. Happy Monday. Um, I feel like it was a long day. Not bad, just like long, very productive for me. I hope everybody had a great start to the week as well. So we are back with NYC Planner Addicts, 31 days of doodling. Day 7. Today I'm really excited because there are so many possibilities for this doodle that we're doing. This is for the affirmation, I'm connected to my inner child, let's play. So this is a very fun spirited doodle. I like that it's there's 2 figures here, so we don't just get to master one figure, we can master both of them, have as much fun accessorizing them and dressing them in various things, which is what I've been enjoying over the past couple of days too. Just going to pull my materials over. So as before, I'm going to shade this in, follow the line so I can get used to the structure that's composing this doodle. And then we will journal the affirmation and then do our 2-page journal spread. So right now I'm going to pick some colors for these 2 figures. And the way I'm seeing it is that this is me on the left, and there's my inner child on the right, who is trying to get me to abandon my tasks, which I'm happy to do. The procrastinator in all of us, right? Is may be pulled by our inner children, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're more disciplined. I don't know, but I really love the way that this image is composed. So I'm gonna pull out some colors. I'm very much seeing yellow here. Again, I know, Anna, I know, like, yellow is my favorite color, and it just reminds me of spring. It's so bright. I would never wear yellow. It doesn't go with my coloring, but, and I probably overcompensate by using yellow like everywhere else, namely my art. So, also on my planner, like, this kind of came through because my shading of her face was a little bit oversaturated, but I kind of like how this looks like a sun, so that's a happy accident for me, and I'm going to take advantage of that. And I think I'm going to follow that trend where that's an orange sun. So let me grab an orange really quickly. So you know when the sun sets at night, and in the summer it's so hot and humid. We have these hot, humid days here in New York where when the sun sets, it looks like a giant orange ball when it's still like pretty high in the sky. And when I'm saying pretty high, it's like maybe at a, I don't know, like a 45-degree angle. So let's say, like, if this is noon, this is like the midpoint between the highest point in the day and sunset, and when it's at that angle it turns bright orange, and I think it has to do with the moisture in the air, and it's such a beautiful sight. For me, where I live, I get to see the sunset. Not from my house, but like if I'm out in the neighborhood, the sun sets over the water for us, and it's gorgeous. So I'm pulling a lot of inspiration there. So for the inner child here, this morning, and you guys can probably see how like Anna and I feel like we're like two souls, or the same soul in two different bodies. Is that how the saying goes? But like, she will do something and I'm like, oh my God, like I was thinking about that. Or like I'll do something and she's like, that's exactly what I was going to do, or what I was thinking about, or where I was going. So this process has been so fun for me. So Anna was talking about how this figure on the right is like a Peter Pan shadow. And I was thinking, well, I wasn't thinking Peter Pan, but I was thinking Tinkerbell. You know, like in the Disney movie Peter Pan, she's the harbinger, right, of all the mischief that those kids get into for the whole movie. So like I'm seeing this is Tinkerbell. She's coming. She's very mischievous and playful, and she comes in and she tries to you know, get the kids involved and waking up. So to hear Anna say the Peter Pan thing, that was fun. So so this is my Tinkerbell. I've toned down the yellow with that green a little bit. I'll blend the colors together, and I don't want her to look exactly like how she did in the Disney movie, but I do want her to look fairy-like. So I think I'm going to give her some, like a different colored hair. And I think blue is a nice complement to that yellow. So Tinkerbell, she's got very big blue hair, and she flies. So she's not bound to the rules of gravity, right? So her hair is just gonna kind of go upward, like very wild. Kind of like how a mermaid's hair is floating up all around her in the water, but this is in the air. And then I'm going to take a darker blue and do a couple of low lights. And it wouldn't be Tinkerbell without wings, right? So I'm going to come back in with, I think her wings could either be yellow or maybe they could be blue. Okay, so I think like a blue or a yellow. Kind of like butterfly wings, either like a cross between a moth and butterfly wings. Maybe more like butterfly wings. And then I'm going to shade the rest of it with that yellow. And I did dots with the blue because I hope that the blue kind of melts into the yellow when I add some water to it. So there she is. There's Tinkerbell. She's pulling me out to play, to do something. And I, of course, have to look sensible, right? So, but I do want her to match the theme. So maybe I will go with like a dark green and a navy blue. Actually, maybe I'll go with like a navy blue and a purple. So I've got like a pantsuit on, very circa Hillary Clinton in 2016. So there's like a lot of straight lines in this doodle. So if anybody's had like trouble with like the curves or getting the right angle of the curvature, this should be a great doodle for you. So I'm just darkening the edge with my purple. And then I'll do, since she's sensible, her hair should be up, right? Maybe up in like a high bun, messy bun, getting things done type of vibe. Actually, her hair is kind of looking like the Tinkerbell hair from the Disney movie, so that's kind of funny. I'm just adding some brown to give it a little dimension, and I'm going to shade her face in a little bit. With this is like a peach color, and then I'm going to go back in with this tan for some shadow. There she is. So I'm going to get my my thin brush. I'm going to blend this a little bit. So I love how that green and the yellow blended very well. I'm going to blend her wings. I'm hoping again that the blue kind of like bleeds into the yellow. So it's doing that. I'm very pleased. And with this color yellow, it looks almost like her wings are glowing. Then I'm going to blend her hair out. So with her hair, I just want like a lot of movement to be showing. Okay, so now for myself, a little bit more control. Because this is the, you know, all business amber. I think like this is a great outfit. I think I would wear a purple purple jumpsuit like this. And make a note for myself, maybe for spring. And the bun, I love how the bun just got bigger. With that watercolor, I'll blend both their faces a little bit. And then I'll leave it like that. I may add a little bit of ink later on. So now we're at the point where I would do the affirmation and then answer the journaling portion. I'm just going to pull this up a little bit. Let's grab a pen. I'm feeling the purple today. So the journaling prompt is, when did you start your artistic journey and where are you now? What a deep question. Okay, so I think that I would have to say that I started my artistic journey when I was a child. I've always loved doing art, and all types of art, and I've always loved learning about new techniques. I distinctly remember the time when I learned about pointillism, and I think I was in the 5th grade, and I was obsessed with it. Everything that I drew had to be done like in a pointillism method, and I think that kind of prompted like me to get like these dot markers, which I've purchased maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've loved using those, but I haven't used them for pointillism yet, so I'm making a note for myself to do something with them, like a larger art scale. But these pointillism paintings would, or not paintings, I did use like the tip of the marker, but they would take maybe like a week. Like I would work on it for like days and days and days, and it was such a soothing process for me. So all that to say, I started my artistic journey when I was a child. So then if I started my artistic journey as a child, is she my inner child? That's a thought to ponder later when I'm doing my 2-page spread. And where are you now? I would say now I'm doing art on a fairly regular basis, which is wonderful. And working with great artists like Anna and Estrella last month, and Chella Creates. Hi, Chella. And I think that probably since taking Chella's class, maybe over a year ago now, I really, really like picked up with my journaling, and I'm enjoying myself. So, long-winded response again. So my short answer is now I am doing something creative fairly regularly. All right, and in all the excitement, I forgot to do the affirmation, so let me do that now. The affirmation is, I'm connected to my inner child. Let's play. So I'll write that here. And this will be a fun affirmation to write over again in fancy lettering or like overly ornate cursive on the 2-page spread. So there is the simple journaling spread. If you guys are following along and doing this with us, I'd love to see how you dress up your dolls. So now I'm going to move on to the 2-page spread in my larger journals. I'm going to move this up a little bit so I have a little bit more space. And so you can see both pages at once. I'm going to leave this open for reference. And I had not finished my journal writing for yesterday, but I was really pleased with how she looks. Like her face has so much emotion there. You know, like she's self-soothing with that pose, and her expression looks like I'm at peace with myself. So I love how that came out. So now I'm actually always happy to see Chella, but I'm glad that she was here today because I was going to do a technique that she taught me, I think in one of my very first journaling classes with her. The technique, it's with markers that you can use to act as a watercolor. And what I love about the technique is it's very simple, it's very easy, and it uses, like, it makes use of old materials, which is great because, like, I'm kind of trying to find alternative uses for, like, packaging and things like that. And then, of course, most importantly, is that the result is beautiful, and it's fun. So this is called the smoosh technique. That's the technical term. What you do is you take a water-based marker. So I have these water-based dual tip markers. I'm going to pick a couple of colors. For a background, and what I'm going to do is I think I'll go with, like, oranges. So we'll use oranges because I'm again, like, looking to that sunset here, and I think orange is a great complementary background to the navy blue and the yellow. So I'm going to pull a couple of oranges. I'm going to pull, this is like a salmon pink, and this is another orange, but it's pulling a little bit of brown. I'm going to put this one back. Okay, so the smoosh technique is where you take these markers and you color over. Oh, this is a piece of plastic packaging. You know, and you always get plastic packaging, like, everywhere. So I tend to save my plastic packaging, and I use it for maybe protecting my surfaces, or using it for this like this smoosh technique, which I'm gonna do right now, or you could do a lot of things with plastic, so it's not like single use anymore. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of scribbling all over the page with my marker. So it's going to be very orange, but there's, like, a little bit of this dark pink. It's like a salmonish pink color. And then I'm going to get either a spritzer, or you could use a paintbrush for the second part. So the second part is where you put some water, you spray some water onto this plastic. You could also use saran wrap. I've done this with saran wrap. Saran wrap kind of has a different, this is kind of like a cellophane plastic. The saran wrap has a different feel, so the result is a little bit different. With saran wrap, you can, like, push it around a little bit more. So once it's wet, I spritzed it 3 times. This is a very small spritzer that I have. And you turn it over and you kind of, like, smush it onto the paper. I will, like, rub it around a little bit. So you get, like, this this background where it's, like, very, like, dreamy. You could then repeat it. I quite like this. This looks almost like a fog, so I'm going to leave it like this. There's a couple of areas where it didn't pick up, so I'm going to put maybe, like, a little bit more water on, like, a few of those areas and kind of smush it again, see if I can get a little bit more on there. Maybe, like, right here, like in the bottom corner. I'll put some right up here. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And now that's done. You could also do this with paint. I've done it with gelato, where you color onto the plastic and then wet it and then rub it on the paper. So with this, since there's not that much water, the paper dries fairly quickly. So now I'm pulling my reference over this again, or under rather, so that I can follow the lines. I'm going to grab my pencil, and I use a mechanical pencil. This is a 0.7 tip to get like a very thin, crisp line. I may or may not delete the line depending on how heavy the watercolor looks over it. So if that's helpful to you. So we have the two figures. I'm going to do the fairy first because I want it to be on this side of the page. Actually, maybe it would be better on this side of the page because the fairy would be pulling her this way. I'm going to do that. Oh, thank you for saying that, Jin Babe. Sometimes I wonder, like, am I talking too much? Am I giving too many details? Too much stream of consciousness? So if anything that I'm saying is helpful to you, I'm glad. Okay, so since I'm starting from this part of the page now, I'm going to draw myself first. So I was saying I really love how it's just very straight lines, right? So it's the one line down. And Anna said you could add some shape also. I think I'm just going to go with the one line down to keep it simple. I'm not that confident in drawing yet, although I feel that I've been getting better with this practice. So mine, I'm going to have her kind of like on tippy toes. I want the suggestion to be that Tinkerbell is pulling me up and we're going to fly to Neverland, or to my, where our imaginations are taking us. So it's going up. There's her behind curve, and then she's going, there's her back, and her arm is coming down. And again, my hand is like it's just like the shape of a hand slightly. So then there's her shoulder. Here's her other leg. And again, she's on tiptoes. I think I'm going to draw her arm like coming up. I'm going to draw Tinkerbell like a little bit higher. So there's her arm. And now I'm going to have her face is here, like that oval. She's looking upward. There's her hair. There's her ear here. I'm going to do that trick where we do the bands. So here's her mouth, her nostrils. Her nostrils are kind of facing this way, and her eyes here. All right, so her arm is coming up. So now there is the fairy, and she's holding her arm. She's pulling her up. Come with me. So her body is going down again. And again, I really am enjoying these straight lines in the pose, because it's just much, it's like pretty easy to follow. So she's got her tippy toe as well. And there's her back leg. Again, the tippy toe, and she's, let's say that she's got her arm is up too. She's like, okay, we're flying. She needs that arm to steer herself, right? I'm not sure about that. Okay, so now here's her head. And it would be great if she was like kind of looking back at her, so they're looking at each other. So again, here's the two bands. Her eyes would be here, her nostrils are here, her mouth is here. And you know, I want her to have like just very big hair. As I'm drawing this, I wonder if this kind of looks like that Caravel hair. So I'm trying to make it look a little bit different. Maybe her hair can like have like tendrils curving at the end. I want it to be more like Ariel's hair in The Little Mermaid, and not like, you know, Medusa or Ursula. But I think it'll have more shape when I fill this in with the colored pencil. So, I'm going to clean up my work area a little bit. I'm going to get rid of that plastic. I'm going to bring my pencils out again, and her wings. So I had this sticker book which had butterflies in it, and I was thinking about maybe cutting the butterfly in half and adding the wings to it, to the figure. I don't know if it will work. I'm gonna try one. And this is the biggest butterfly here. Oh, actually, you know, I think it will. Okay, so I'm gonna reserve the butterfly right here for when I need to use it, and let's color her in. I'm gonna use that same yellow and green for her. I want her to look like very much like a sprite. So she, you know, she's a make-believe creature. She does not really need clothes because she's like made out of light. You'll just see it's some green in here. Okay, so I'm gonna start painting her in. I want to see how much of a color payoff I'm going to get with that yellow and the green. Okay, and it looks like I'm still getting that very vibrant yellow, so I'm glad. I was a little bit worried because, you know, with the background was pink, I didn't know if it would show up as well, and it is, so I mightn't have worried so much. Alright, so I'm going to, let's do her hair. So I'm going to add like a lot more shades of blue here than I did in my original doodle, and only because there's such a large surface area that I have room to include more color. So we'll use the 4 shades of blue. So we'll go from light to dark. I'm kind of adding a hairline here. And then even that light blue is still pretty dark, so the darker blues will be darker, but I'm glad because I'm going to get that color payoff that I'm looking for. So next we have that, it's like a mid-tone blue. I'm just going to fill in some spaces. And when I add the water, I'm going to let a lot of that color escape the confines of the hairline that I drew. So I'm very excited to let go of that control with her hair. I want her to look as ethereal as possible, and I think that the hair is a great way to get that freedom. And then here's that darkest blue. So I'm just going to do like a very thin line, so I'm hoping that it bleeds out. Alright, so there she is. She is done. And my suit, it was going to be that royal purple. So I'm going to grab my purple. I'm going to keep the blue kind of to complement that purple. And I also have like a pink. I think that these would be great colors again to go from light to dark. So I'm going to start with the light in the middle. Just in the middle here. It's mostly going to be purple, but I do want a sense of dimension. So then we use the purple to fill in the bulk of this figure. And lastly, we use the blue just for that very outline. And then her hair was, I shouldn't say just, it's going to be brown. So we'll start with that kind of that medium colored brown to do her hairline. There's the shape of her hairdo. Then she's got the bun. And then I'm going to come in with darker brown, get that outline, maybe get around her face and the outline of the bun. So her hair is going to be a little bit bigger. And let's, for the faces, I think I'm going to use those Tombow markers again because they have more color options for the skin tones than I have here on my my colored pencil palette. So I'm just going to neaten this a little bit, get these out of the way, and I'm going to do that Tombow shading. So these are the so I put my blending palette in here so that because I lost it like so many times yesterday, so I thought it would be helpful to have it in the package. So these are the Portrait dual brush pens, and I'm going to use this color. This is like a dark peach, and then there's like a warm caramel, and then there's like a cool caramel. So those are the colors I'm going to use. And the way that has worked for me has been to blend these colors on this card, or not blend them, color on this card, and then pull that color from the card onto the paper with my brush. So I have this thin brush. It's not very wet. So I'm going to pull as much of the color as I can. I may like rotate it, kind of like to get as like all of the color, really. I just want to really load up my brush with that color. Okay, so now my brush is loaded, and I'm going to do her face first. So there and there, I'm getting the great color payoff. And I'm going to try to keep I'm picking up a little bit of the color from her hair. I'm going to try to just keep it concentrated to the outside. So that worked out really well. But there's still a little bit of color here on the brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this. This is like a cool caramel. I don't know if these have. Oh, they have numbers on them, but there's not a name. So if that's helpful to you, this is 977. The lighter one was 912, and this one I have not used this one yet. Okay, so I'm going to start coloring in or shading in her face. And I really like this. This color payoff is great. And again, I'm picking up some of the brunette from her hair. I'm going to try to just keep it to the outside of the face so that she has some shadow and dimension. And I'm going to leave it like that. And now that their faces are shaded, I think I'm going to add a little bit more dimension to her face with this brown, just a little bit. And she might need a blush. See, there's like a little bit of blush coming through from the background. I'm going to highlight it a little bit more. And for her, this blush is not dark enough. So I'm going to go with this. This is pulling a little bit more red. With the blush, I kind of like pull it across the face, so it may cross the nose a little bit. I want her to look like she's like naturally flushed, not like she's like overly contoured. So I blended that out a little bit. I'm going to blend this out for her. Okay, so her blush is good. Now I'm going to take my medium brush. This is about maybe 3/8 of an inch wide. So she's blended. I'm going to blend her outfit. So we're getting like a very cool plum suit for her. So I'm getting a lot of movement here. So it looks like she's about to leave the ground. I love how that looks. It looks very fun. Okay, I'm going to take this the same brush. I'm just cleaning it off a little bit. I'm going to dry it a little bit. I'm going to blend out her hair. I love how her hairdo just got like a little bit bigger. It looks great. And see exactly what happened with her hair. It's just kind of like left the confines of the lines that I drew. I want the same effect on her hair, and I think that it is going to work the way that I want it to, but as I'm learning, like with watercolors, there is there's still some unknown. You know, the watercolor is going to do something, and you just kind of help it along. Like there's a lot of faith that goes into it, and I'm learning to like let go of that control. I'm going to try to get the blue like in the hairline. So yes, I'm seeing like some of the definition there is coming with the hair, and I am going to add some ink to this when it fully dries. I'm getting this page a little bit wet, but I'm excited about adding like a little bit more black line to this to get a little bit of the definition back, where it looks more dreamy and earthy. This was such a fun spread to do. Oh, I did have the butterfly. Let's add the butterfly. So let's see, I've got a scissors. I'm going to cut the wings off of the butterfly. What's great about these stickers is that they look like they're watercolors. Anyway, so it kind of blends in. I don't know. I don't know how this looks. I think I'm going to abandon the butterfly because I realize now like it's covering her arm. I may as well just like draw butterfly wings. I like this look though, so let me see if I can copy that design. With my, let's see, I'll go in with a pencil. So it's just kind of going up. Let's say the butterfly wing is coming up here. It's kind of behind her hair, and it's round. It's coming in here, and then there's like that second wing that's coming down. Yeah, I think that's better. And it, you know, the benefit that the butterfly wing can be bigger if I draw it. Okay, so there it connects right here. And the other one, okay, so this one would be, most of the wing would be hidden because her arm is there and her hair is there. Okay, so let's do the butterfly wing, and I really love this hot pink. So let's do a hot pink butterfly wing. We've got some pencils. We're going to move from light to dark again. I'm going to remove this. This is pulling more red. Okay, so this is the hottest pink. This will be that purple dot. This is the light pink, and there's the mid-tone. So we'll start with the light pink. I'm going to start from the center. It's right here. And then with the mid-tone, we'll just go around that. And then here's the darker pink on the tips of her wings. And with this purple, there looks like it's kind of like an inverted teardrop here. And then there's two teardrops here. I'm going to add like some in the middle too. So there's two teardrops here, an inverted teardrop here. Alright, so I'm going to use the big brush again because I want more movement in the wings. I want it to look very like that wash of pink. The pink on the wing is not coming out as vibrant as I had thought. So what can we do? I have these markers, the watercolor, they're not watercolor, they're water-based. Maybe I can pull in more color with these using the blending palette. So let's try that. Okay, so here's some pink. These pinks are nearly the same, and I'm hoping this is dark. Okay, so here's a dark pink. All right, now I'm gonna pull it with that larger brush. So I'm gonna go with the lighter pink and pick up as much color as I can. And I like this technique because the brush seems to soak up like just so much of the color. And adding it to the wing, it's still very light. I'm going to try it with that very dark color. And if this doesn't work, I don't want to hold you guys for too long, so I may just move on to my border and then go back in with my mainstays, which are acrylic marker and pen to give those wings more definition than I'm getting. I think I'll do that. Okay, but thank you guys for bearing with me on that side. Now a border. I think I'm going to go back to this book and add some flowers, like a flower border. So this, let's see, we've got this. This is a diagonal stripe, which is very fun. I'll reserve that right here. And then we have a, let's see, this is a dotted line, also very fun. And I do a lot of drawn dotted lines. So the way I would use these are just long strip stickers. People use them in place of washi tape. I like to cut them in half and use them to like construct a frame around the page. So I think what I'll do is I'll use this here. Very loosely. I don't want to cover the whole page. I'm going to cut this part and then use it on the opposite page right here. So there's that complement, and then I have this. I think I'll put this part like on the top here. And then again, cut it in half right here. And have this part on the bottom. So I can cut this. And have this here as well. You'll move it more towards the corner. No, I'll have it in the center. I can put a like a flower or something here, or I can do my lettering. I'm just going to flip through this again and see if there are So here's a great bouquet of roses. Maybe Tinkerbell is holding these as she, as she flies away. That looks great. Okay, now I'm gonna look for maybe one more element. So we've got, these are more towards gardening, so I don't really want to use those. I kind of want to use flowers. Let's do this one because that looks like it would be a great corner piece to fill in that naked corner. Right here. And then I can put my lettering here. All right, what does the lettering say? I'm connected to my inner child. Let's play. So let's do the lettering in, how about a dark green? I'm looking at this color. It's like a green. Actually, maybe a purple would be better. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to use the fine point to write it, and then I will fill in the downstrokes with a thicker line. So it says, and I'll use 2 rows of boxes for the sizing. I think I'm going to write it backwards so that I can make sure that the spacing is correct. Okay, so here's the exclamation point. Let's write play. And the child would be here. Okay, so there we have it. You saw I did it backwards so that I could make sure that my spacing was appropriate. That's the best tip that I have. I kind of came up with that myself, but if you struggle with lettering and like spacing, sometimes I'll write a quote and then like I'll have only half of the word written out and not enough space, and you can do a hyphen and continue it, but it just doesn't look as pretty. So what I did was I did the lettering with the thin part of the dual tip marker, and I'm taking the brush part and I'm just going over like where there would be a downstroke with the brush part so that it looks like I lettered it. This is, and I don't consider, it might be cheating, but I do not claim to be a brush letterer. I think it's a great hack to have that look in your journaling spreads. So there we are. There's our spread. Let's move this camera up a little so you can see the whole thing. So thank you guys for spending some time with me this evening to work on this simple and the more expanded 2-page spread with this doodle. I absolutely love the way this came out. It looks so dreamy. I've been watercoloring like every day for about, I guess it's a week now, right? So it's been a week, and this is the most watercolory of my spreads, I think, so far, and I just love that free look. I hope that you guys are having a good time too, and experimenting and trying new things with, and not only your watercolors, like any other art supplies. Today was probably the first day that I did more of this technique of doing the water-based markers on this blending palette. I liked it. I think that I may try that again tomorrow and give my watercolor pencils a break. I don't know. We'll see. I think, what is tomorrow's doodle? Oh, tomorrow's doodle is gorgeous. I already have ideas. So thank you guys again for spending some time with me, and if you're doing versions of this, tag us. We'd love to see your interpretations of these doodles. And without further ado, I'll let you go. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful rest of the week. Bye, everyone.